welcome to the second part of this three-part demonstration. With this morning, I managed to get some of the colour on, and the same as this morning, we've got a studio audience. So it's hello from me and it's hello from the audience. Hello. So first part, I've put some colour down, and to be honest, I was also kind of deciding on what colours to use because I've got the full set of the Derwent ProColour Pencils. And even though I have practiced this before, I won't remember what colours I've used. So I'm just picking up a colour as I feel like. And you'll see I will have a lot of colours out. And that's what you tend to find with pencils, that you do use quite a lot of the colours. They go nicely over each other and layer well, but you also tend to like to get a green that's green. So I'll continue to build up this Green Iguana. And I do have more iguana facts as well. So because I've had a chance to walk away, I've come back and there's areas I want to look at. So the mouth, I thought I was happy with it, but actually I'm looking at it again. What I want to do is alter it slightly. Now the original image that I had showed the iguana with a sausage in its mouth. Now, I don't want to put that in because it makes no sense in a finished drawing. So I'm altering it. But what I'm also doing is now I'm having to create a mouth, create a tongue. So I've created a tongue here, but what it didn't look right was it looked more like the tongue was set further back and that the iguana had, you could see the jaw, the lip of the jaw here. So I'm just starting to darken under the tongue a little bit, just to push it back and bring the jaw out a little bit. And just a few marks can just alter what you're seeing. Now I can come back to that at the end, because at the end it's the time to work around and really finish the detail or not, as the case may be. So all the colours I've been using, I've put them here for now, and I kept them out purposely. Normally I'd put them back in the tin, but I kept them out because I know those were the colours I've already decided to use. So I'm going to start with the bottom half. At the moment there's no real detail in here yet. Again, with these colours you can go back in, you can add more. So here's a violet colour and I'm just adding that here. It's not necessarily what I'm seeing in the original photo, but for me it's just adding that little bit of colour to make it ping out a little bit, but it's not changing it from a green iguana. And I just think it was actually a green iguana. So these are one of the biggest species that grow to about over 5 foot. So that's bigger than I am. And I have seen them in Florida, and they are big. They jump out of the trees. Well, they actually fall. They don't jump because they live a lot of their time in the tree and they don't usually come down. But if it gets cold, they fall down. And they fall down with a great thump. But they're pretty sturdy. Apparently they can drop 12, 14 foot, no problem at all. The size of them, like I say, is over 5 foot, some up to 6 foot. But more than half of their body is made up of the tail. And that can be used defensively or a display. So now I've just picked up my eraser because I've put a white outline on here and it's a bit too harsh. So I originally did this with the pastel pencil. But I did it quite hard because I didn't want to lose the lines drawing live. So I sometimes put them on a little harsher than I would normally. But it's a little too harsh. So I'm just taking it back. But you can also see here that I accidentally discovered by doing this that you can take off the ProColour pencil, which is great. It means you can alter things really easily. Not sure how it works with others because I've only tried it with this at the moment. But it's great to know that you can alter and not damage that surface of the paper if you do it gently enough. Green, light green. So at the moment I'm putting on green because it's given me a good base layer, and the colour is green on most of this iguana, even though they do come in, it's called a green iguana, they come in many colours, from brown to orange to purple to quite dark. But this is actually a green iguana. That's hard to say as well, Gary.
Green iguana.
A green iguana.
Green iguana.
Yeah. So you can just see I'm just building up layers. I'm looking under here. I often colour in this swirly kind of pattern. It works on this paper. It also works to add that little bit of texture, especially on a reptile like this green iguana. Got it now. And it just, for me, covers the surface quite quickly. But I'm going to look at the shading. So holding these in my hand, because it just helps me decide on colours. And you'll notice pencil end up. The reason for this is I can then see the true colour. So I've picked up a colour like this burnt carmine, which is a brown red. And actually it seems an odd colour to pick up, but because you can put so many layers on, sometimes a nice interesting colour like that helps to just add that extra bit of interest in the colours of the iguana. From a photograph it always looks very flat, and there's much more colour in there. You just have to sometimes use your imagination to see it, or just add it there. Taking some of that very white colour down because it's underneath, and I wanted a little bit more shadow, and it was a bit hard. I found it difficult to go over it. I'm sure I can, but it wasn't giving me the darker shadow I wanted. But I quite like leaving some of these light areas around where the original pastel pencil went down. But you can see here I can go over it. These are the things I'm going to do at the end. Just looking at what I can see. So there's some sharp frills there. Dots coming around here. These lines are helping me think about the direction of the scales that I can see. Let's come under here. So just add some light. So in the photograph, actually there isn't a huge amount of light. It's a very bright sunny day, but the actual light hitting the iguana isn't that obvious. So I'm having to think about it a little bit more yellow. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but this is because I'm thinking about light, and I can see areas of light I want to add a little bit more to. Right, that's not dark enough yet, but I'd rather do it slowly and build up the darker tones as I go along than going quite harsh. I'm looking for the purple. Turn around. There. So using the purple to bring out the dark shadow. So I could use black on here, and I've also got a black surface, so it actually is useful to leave areas for shadow. But this purple's great shadow colour, just will give me not too harsh a colour, and I can go over it, change the colour add a bit more green, take it back, take it forward. That's why I like coloured pencils. You get a lot of time to play and rework. Got some blues. There's a dark blue. So because I've got a nice light yellow green on initially, I'm just using a blue which will give me a green but not too harsh, rather than a very dark green. Nice frills. So this is the dewlap, this area here, which they use for display and to regulate the temperature. Cold-blooded. Tails, I was talking about the tails and that they're more than half their body length, but they also can be used for defence and they break off. So as with the smaller lizards, they will break off their tail and it will grow back without any real problem for the iguana. So as a great defensive strategy, they can get away by leaving their tail behind. So just building up colour. I will go back in for detail. Green, I want to go light green under here. At the moment, there's not a huge amount of shadow, but what I might do is, so that's light, I might actually lighten rather than darken. So just under the belly, this is a difficult part as well. So under the belly is lighter than the top, but it's also in shadow. So how do I show that? Show a light area that's in shadow. So I'll just keep going until it's right, to be honest. That's all I'm going to do. So here, like I say, is a light area, but it's in shadow. Purple. Might just gently darken under here. It needs a little bit. Right, this is, I want the light green. Put it on, because the light is hitting just here and down here. So this swirly motion that I do, like I say, it's brilliant for texture, especially on the iguana. And slightly different green. And where's my violet? I know it's not a colour you would think you can see, but I think it just lifts. Lifts some of the colours. And if you don't do it too harshly, then it just blends in with the colours you've already got. That's quite nice. Just adds that extra colour. Right, let's look here. Darken. I haven't shown that this is in front of, so I'm just not getting the right colour. Like I say, I have done this before, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember what colours I used. And it's nice just to kind of see what happens, because I can keep going over. See, I can keep adding colour. Okay, that's lighten that. So I've got some dark areas here, but Let's put some colour here. That's not making any sense at the moment, so let's see if I can just look at the original and see what I'm missing. This is that grape again, it's not the black. It's a deep purple, which again is perfect for this. Now the shape is not right, I can see that, so I'm going to alter that. It's too square, which is fine because people haven't seen your original, but it's not right for me. I know it's not right. I want to alter that. I want to make it a little bit more rounded. Two ways I could have done it. I could have used the eraser because I found out it lifts. But you can see there I'm just using that pencil to go over. Now I can darken. So I've changed that from being very straight to now having a much softer curve. And again, I'll alter it slightly here and rounding. So it's literally tiny areas. I want to take it out this way as well. Now I haven't got the lightest colour, so let's try a yellow. Because I've got many layers on this, the light colour isn't moving, giving me the shape. So you have to sometimes just choose a much lighter colour. That's better, much better. Carmen. Just adding a little bit more. So this is the burnt carmine, which is a reddy brown. And you wouldn't have thought green lizard, put reddy brown in it, but it works. If you can just use it and you just look beyond the colour. Photographs give you a very flat, solid colour a lot of the time, which you need to look beyond. Because I can't actually always see what I'm doing as well as you can at home. It looks very different once I've finished and I could take it away from the studio lights. It is actually, for me, very flat, which is why I probably put a lot more colour in than you would expect. But the truth is I can't see it. I'm not actually seeing the colours that you are. Right. Got this nice kingfisher blue. And I know I've used that throughout, but that's going to give me the darker colour under here. Right, so the light is hitting here, so I don't want to overdo that too much. This is a darker. Very quickly putting the colour on. Now this is where I need to take some of this white off because it's just shouting and I don't want it to shout. I want it to be softer. I'm going to have a very light background anyway, so that white area would have just looked so odd. You can see there, just soften it, take it down. Like I said, I put those whites on purposely strong so I could see and not lose where I was going. The feet under the body, I can't see that well, especially on the photograph. I'm kind of guessing. I'm guessing it's got 5 toes because I can see 5 toes on this one. Again, that white is a bit too harsh. Take it back a little. So I've guessed there's 5 toes, but where they actually are, I can't see them. So as long as it looks and the toes make sense, I'm not that bothered. So put that darker on. Okay, Right, where's the purple? Just darken under here. So, like I say, I can't see the toes or the feet as well under here, so let's take it back. And this grape, I keep calling it purple, is fabulous. It's not too harsh, but helps to blend in and darken, dropping that foot back. I can use it here. And this is why coloured pencils are great, because I'm just working around, so there's a bit more of a kink in the foot there. Again, I can't see what's happening here. Drop off the white. So I use the pastel pencil to do, so I could do this, so I could lift it off. If I'd used graphite, if you saw in the first part, I showed you using graphite, it can score the paper and it leaves that shiny outline, which is really difficult to actually go over with the pencil. It resists. So this is another reason why I have used the white pastel pencil. It doesn't have to be white, it could be anything. But the white I just used because I could see it. A lot of things you'll do very differently. I just need to be able to see and not get too lost. Right, the light is hitting here. It's nice. So that's quite strong. Sometimes while I've got a pencil in my hand, I will jump around. Missing the light green here. So this doesn't have a huge amount of light, even though it is bright. So I'm having to really think about it a little bit more. Right, this is a green. Under the foot will always have the shadow anyway, unless it's lifting it up. Right, that's too much green in there. Let's go for a blue. No, let's go for the violet. So you can see that's just used pretty much green. It's fine, it's green, but just to lift it a little bit, I'm adding some violet. And it's not going to alter it too much, but you'll see it gives that different quality. Right. I'll do the dorsal fins. They're quite quick and easy. So just choosing a colour, different colours. Again, not thinking about it too much. I know what they look like. I know the direction because I've already done that with the drawing. Not even being overly careful. And I'm quite liking the white that's left. So yes, because the dorsal fins are at the top, on the back, they're the bits that would normally catch the light. And like I say, in the original they're not, but if you just give them a bit of a colour. So when you're painting from a photograph, the light is a really difficult thing to get, unless you've got a beautifully composed photo that gives you some fantastic lights and darks, which is often why I would choose a picture to draw. Because of that, it's already done it for you. You have to think about it. You have to kind of add them. Not too much. You have to think, does it need as much or does it need as little? But the tops of this lizard will be catching some of the light, as will a few areas on the back. So adding extra light, more than I can see from the original. Might even go a bit harder. Like I say, people haven't seen your original. As long as it makes enough sense, then you can just be a little bit more creative. That is not giving me, so this is flesh colour. Just seeing if this gives me that little bit of light before I go white. I don't want to go to the whites yet. So here we have detail. So look, okay, so no details yet, and I will put those on. How long have I got?
10 minutes.
Wow, that went quickly.
Flies by.
Does. So just taking white back, which I'm going to need to do here, but again I didn't want to lose what I was looking at. Let's go in. So this foot is catching the light. It's not light enough. I think this green will do. So the light is hitting the lizard here. Lizard iguana. I've got to not call it lizard. And they have long claws to help them grip. I'm going to go purple. Slightly bring back the shadow. It's very flat. I'm going to, so you get to use all the pencils, which is fun. I'm going to put on these, just one colour, and I'm just at the moment thinking about where they are. There's one coming here from that toe, long ones, one here, and then this foot's laying down, so the claws are like that. So put one colour on, add a little bit more. Because they all look very much the same at the moment. Purple, no, I've had purple, I'll go blue. So because it's the black paper, the colours are different, and I don't want them all the same, so some are going to have a little bit more light, which I will do with, I'm not used white yet, and that will be at the end. So this is a yellow. Again, not all of them. I can see where I've missed toes here. Still at that soft stage. I haven't yet put detail in. How long?
About 8 minutes.
About 8 minutes, right. So now I'm going to start to look around. Just darken that because it's not working. Now, dark indigo. So this is a nice dark colour for me to be able to bring out detail. And you can see I can still go back in. I can still add that little bit more. Get my white out ready. Because white is the finishing colour. But because I had white on originally, it's still showing through. Catch. Being very careful not to put the white out because I didn't want it to take over. And you can see there, by just adding that white, it's really can take over if you're not careful. Leaving it till the last. Just so I can add a little bit more detail. here. Along here they have, because it's slightly forward, I can put a little bit more detail on. And this is what those little lines were to help me with the direction. Because I've put so much colour underneath, the white actually isn't going to be too stark. If I had loads of time, what I'd do is I'd go back in, go round, darken, but I haven't. When you've got a few minutes left of this session, and then one more 45-minute session to be able to finish it. So this is a case of how much can I put in, what can I leave out. And again, it's quite interesting exercise to do, because it means you have to think about what you need, what you're trying to say, and what you don't need. But you can see you can keep going back in, keep adding detail if I want to, keep changing the colour. That's coloured pencils, especially these ones, they're really great for layering. Gently soften. Sometimes you can use the white as a blender. So gently soften over the colours you've got, not adding that harsh white, but just a little bit of lightening. There's loads of little scales I'm going to put on, but you can see you just don't need all of them, just a few which have caught the light, giving it texture. Under there is bothering me a little bit, it's not quite right, it needs to just be a little bit more yellow. That's better. Okay. There's my white. Put some, don't know if I'm going to be able to pick up here. I can't see anything on the back here because its photo is, I think it's very small and it's not giving me much detail, but I'm sure there are scales and texture, so I can suggest them. Not too much, I don't want to overdo it. Where was this lovely part here? It's got some lovely... This wasn't light enough. See if I can take that back. And that's not dark enough. So just constantly reviewing and going round.
About 2 minutes then, Anita.
2 minutes. Okay. I can use the dark as well to bring out some of the shape. Oops, just broken a pencil by leaning on it. So that must be the ear up there. Maybe shape around the eye a little bit more. Pick out some of the detail. Because the first feature you look at is the eye. Lighter there. You can see just sometimes little touches. Bring it all together. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. In the third session, what I can do is I can do the background, and then I can start to, once the background's on, it kind of helps see a balance of what more detail I need and what areas may just need to go back a little bit, be a bit darker or even a bit lighter. So join us for the third part at 2:45, and that's goodbye from me, and that's goodbye from the audience.
Bye.